I wanted to come out and talk to you about, I don't know, changed expectations from your vegetables, things you like, things you think you like, things you're very sure you don't like because you've had them in the store or at a restaurant but I was like, oh, I'll just go sit outside and I'll talk with you about this. And then I realized that my seating areas are mostly occupied. I suppose I could clear them off. It's like 47 right now. I think the high today is like 71, which we've talked about before is my preferred range of weather. And for some things in the garden, it is also its preferred range. And for other things, it's definitely not. It's early in the day and I woke up with the idea of chatting with you about the things I've changed my mind on, having grown them. And a good example of this was cabbage. So this was my first year growing cabbage. I've had it cooked, I've had it raw. I don't like coleslaw, whether it's a mayo base or a vinegar base. It's not my thing. Don't like it. I do like sauerkraut, but it's not something I've grown. So I've been limited to what other people have picked up in the store or what I've picked up in the store. And there's a massive flavor difference. There's a variety flavor difference. I grew two different types of cabbages successfully this summer. One of them was Gloria of Ebenezer. That was a green variety, very mild, delicious. One of those was the most beautiful cabbage in the garden. It was glorious. The other one was like Nantis purple, or it was a purple variety. I'll look, and then I'll put it up on the screen. But the purple variety, the closer you get to the base, the spicier it is. The green variety is pretty mild, but there was a huge flavor difference. I like homegrown cabbage, it turns out. I've never had it before. There's no way I would have known that if I hadn't have tried it. Similarly, I don't like fresh radishes, but I did find out that I like them roasted. I like them pickled. I knew I liked fried okra because I lived in the South for a period of time, like 5 years, and staple there, delicious. Love it in gumbo. All of that's good. But I didn't know if I'd like it fresh. So I tried it fresh and it was good. My spouse really likes broccoli, really likes Brussels sprouts, and those are notoriously more difficult to grow in the sense of the amount of time they take, the amount of space they take, their season tolerance. You can find varieties of those that are bolt resistant, meaning that they're less likely to go to seed in the heat, but it's not a guarantee that you'll get what you're looking for. You can find frost hardy versions of those, and because they're a Kohl crop or a brassica crop, they are already frost hardy. But how frost hardy? Because it gets cold here. What I can grow with regularity is kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is in the same family as the Brussels sprouts and the broccolis that my husband enjoys, and it's easier for me to ensure I can get a harvest of those, and I can get them in quantity if I plant enough of them, which means that we can have several sides. They hold their own pretty well in weather like this, and so now is an excellent time for me to be harvesting kohlrabi. I have, I think, 4 or 5 more out in the back bed, and I planted several in the greenhouse so that we could have more. But that wasn't a vegetable he'd tried before, so he learned that he likes it because it tastes so much like his other vegetables he likes, and it's easier for me to grow. I am still persisting on the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli. We're gonna keep trying. The other things that have been like a game changer for the house, I think, have been the sheer quantity of herbs and spices you can grow. I have a bunch of basil and oregano. I grow a lot of things for tea. And the versatility of having them dried means that they're available whenever. And when I grow them fresh, we can pick as we need them. And that's been, I think, the standout winner. When my cilantro went to seed, I harvested coriander. I used that in different brine recipes. Different recipes that my husband makes will call for coriander. We're self-sufficient in things like garlic and onions. I grow enough of those to last us throughout the year. I grow enough garlic now that I have seed stock. I need to sneak a few of those in here in the greenhouse for this fall season so that I have some in the spring. And because I haven't tried growing garlic in the greenhouse, so we're gonna squeeze that in somewhere. So many people come to gardening with the goals of reducing their grocery bill, or eliminating portions of their grocery. There are truths to that and exaggerations to that. I just mentioned that we are self-sufficient in garlic and onions, but it was an investment, I think, of like $50 in garlic bulbs to get enough garlic to have some for seed garlic later. But the trade-off is we have it all year long. Any damaged bulbs that I harvested, I will be chopping up and putting in like little ice cube trays to freeze, just for convenience sake. Just because the damaged bulbs don't store very well. But it's another way to use it without wasting it. Just because the bulb is damaged doesn't mean I can't take the portions of it that aren't damaged. So about $50 in garlic bulbs initially, and that was, I think, 2 years ago. And then onion seed packets are like $2, and I'll get like 300 seeds. And what I was looking for when I bought that was the different types of onions we use. So initially I had purchased a yellow onion for storage, and that was the yellow of Parma. That can store for like 12 months. It's great, provided your conditions are ideal and all of that. But and then I do white onions, so like Walla Walla or a red onion, green onions. I'm not super great at green onions, which is really annoying. It's one of those things that people are like, oh yeah, you want to start with the easy vegetables. How about you do some green onions, some bunching onions? And I'm just like, shut up. I've been trying. I have gotten like 1 or 2, but it's not like a sizable amount. Fortunately, I can use my onion greens the same way, so it's fine, but it's frustrating. I'm better than that. I will win. The other part of gardening they don't tell you about is that you need to be more stubborn than your vegetables. I am more stubborn than the vegetables. So when I started gardening, I would tell you that it didn't reduce our grocery bill, partly because I grew too many of like 1 or 2 crops. So that meant that I had a whole bunch of tomatoes and a whole bunch of cucumbers, but not a lot of anything else. So I changed tactics. And I started growing things like hot peppers. I don't have a high tolerance for spice. I do like flavor. Those are separate things sometimes. And I started growing different heat levels of peppers, so different Scoville ratings, dehydrating those. And that's really been one of the stellar things that my husband uses when he's cooking. He likes to either mix and match those or just pick the spice range he's looking for. I'd grown an ornamental hot pepper that was called like Firecracker, I think 3 years ago, and I tried saving the seeds and that one didn't work. I did something wrong. It's a beautiful little pepper. It's ornamental. It almost looks like little Christmas tree lights. That was like 100,000 Scoville, but like 1 or 2 of those in like a spaghetti pot sized container of sauce. Stellar. Absolutely good. The spice builds and then it just stays. So using something like that versus like the lemon drop pepper or the jalapenos, or those will give you different spice ratings. So if you're able to dry those, you can use those in recipes throughout the year. And it allows some versatility in that I can grow things in the jalapeno range this year, or I can grow one of each type, and I can dehydrate all of those and can them separately so we know what's what. And I might not need to grow more of that if I'm satisfied with the amount I have. That canned container of each of those types might be sufficient, might get me through another gardening year. So you're able to change focus on your efforts from year to year. That's also an option. But none of those are things that you would know without trying or putting in excessive planning. And I kind of do a bit of both. But this summer, we've gotten to the point where we haven't purchased any vegetables from the store. We haven't needed to. We've got plenty. And in fact, I'm to the part of the season where the rest of my day is going to be spent dealing with the harvest I pulled yesterday because it's taken over my kitchen. I can't sit at the table right now. It's bad. Sorry. The other consideration I had to lean into as I was learning how to do this is I didn't have a whole lot of storage crops. So we would have a huge abundance of things in the summer and then nothing in the winter. And I live where there's like 9 months of winter, so there's a lot of winter. So for me, it was important. I think I have 5 or 6 varieties of storage squash growing, part of which was because if one of them failed, I had backups of other varieties. If one of them had a higher pest pressure and just didn't make it, then I had other varieties. If I only got like 2 off of one, I still had other options. These are all things that you learn as you go. And so my advice to you is essentially look at what you enjoy eating, grow enough of those, try succession sowing so that you're not having it all come to harvest all at once. So separate it by about 2 weeks between plantings if you're able to. And then think about what you're going to do for things when it's not growing season, wherever you are. And then the other thing that I want you to remember is that growing your food is one skill and learning how to use it is another skill. And sometimes learning how to store it so you can use it is a whole separate skill. I didn't grow up in a family that canned routinely. I had to learn that. I learned that from books. If you are someone who learns visually, there's hundreds of videos on that. The thing that I implemented as a rule for myself, I tried something 3 ways to determine if I do or don't like it. I'll try it raw to see if I like it that way. I'll try it roasted, which is just in the oven, olive oil, salt and pepper. Try it that way. Most things elevated 100% with that. It might seem like a simple recipe, but simple is best sometimes. And if I don't like either of those, or if I do and I just want to see what else I can do, I'll try pickling it. And pickled radishes is a good example. I throw that into other recipes all the time. You can toss that in salads, you can toss it in ramen, you can toss it in soups. You can have it as a little side. It's really versatile. Yeah, cabbage you can pickle too, or ferment. You can ferment things. I would put fermenting in the pickling category. Yeah. So if there's a vegetable that you have tried in your garden that you previously thought you didn't like, I want to hear about it. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for coming along with me. I had no idea that these little straw flowers closed up at night. That is super cool. Kohlrabi is in the same family. I don't think she wants me here.